You're good, Ricardo.
Perfect. All right. Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Welcome to the grantee orientation for the Enhancing School Capacity to Address Youth Violence program. My name is Ricardo Goodridge. I'm here with LISC, and we are just so excited to have you all here today. The purpose of today's grantee orientation is multifaceted. One, we really hope you get a chance to share and learn and engage. We're hoping to share a wealth of information with you about this program. Some of that information will come from our OJJDP, and we'll hit on some of the basics. We'll talk about some of your programmatic, your fiscal, and your administrative and reporting requirements. Certainly have time for questions. But we'll also talk a little bit about our role here at LISC and how we can help you as the training and technical assistance provider. So again, just really big picture. Those are some of the things that we're really hoping to get across. And again, just so excited to have all of you here today. While we are getting started, one of the things that would be really helpful for us to do is for you to utilize the chat. At times, you know that during the presentation, you may have really pressing questions. My colleague, James, is going to do his best to monitor the chat and try to provide timely responses. And if not, when there's a natural break, either James or our presenter will try to interject. But in the meantime, let's just start with the basics. If you can, please just in the chat, just let us know who's here today. Maybe your name, your organization, the state that you're from. That will be extremely helpful for us. Now, that said, don't want to talk your ear off. We really want to kick things off. And again, we just really appreciate your time and we want to make good use of it. I want to introduce the Senior Policy Advisor from the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, Scott Prestige. And Scott is going to share a wealth of information with you over the next few minutes or so. And Scott, I'm going to hand it over to you at this time.
Thanks, Ricardo. I appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Awesome. Okay, thanks. Really appreciate everyone being here today. Congratulations on receiving an award. This is our second year as an office supporting the stop-funded awards. The Bureau of Justice Assistance has provided a $25 million interagency agreement for OJJDP to support school climate work, which is great. Ricardo, can you go back for just a second? Sorry. And so we're really excited to be a part of this work. So this is the second cohort, second year that we've been able to support this work. Anyway, you see the agenda. Thank you. We'll go through a few of these things. I'm going to keep my stuff pretty brief so you have an opportunity to connect with one another. Go ahead. So this is the this list that Ricardo and James put together of all the. This is the FY23 cohort. Very exciting. So you're well represented throughout the United States, and we have some people coming from afar. It's good seeing Deborah from Spencer Chun from Adult Friends for Youth. I see some friendly faces from some other programs that we've supported over the years. So really happy to have sites build out their expertise around school climate work. So really excited. And we're going to have an opportunity to hear from you all individually in just a little bit. This is a nice, this 22 sites, correct? This goes.
Yeah, Scott, we just wanted to take a really brief second just to acknowledge that in addition to everyone that's a part of the FY23 cohort, we also have an FY2022 cohort as well. So know that you are not alone in your efforts.
That's great. So real briefly, for those of you that don't know, the Office of Justice Programs is the grant-making arm of the Department of Justice, and you applied to and received funding under the Enhancing School Capacity to Address Youth Violence under the OJJDP office, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, which is one of the components within the Office of Justice Programs. You'll see that we're joined by the sex mapping assessment, the SMART Office, Bureau of Justice Assistance, Bureau of Justice Statistics, National Institute of Justice, as well as Office for Victims of Crime. Those other 5 components, in sum total, is the Office of Justice Programs. Okay, moving forward. So just want to briefly share our vision, which is OJJDP envisions a nation where children are free from crime and violence, and that youth contact with the justice system should be rare, fair, and beneficial. Mission is to provide the national leadership and coordination and resources to prevent and respond to youth delinquency and victimization. Yeah, we provide supports to all the states and territories, as well as the District of Columbia for Formula One block grants, and a ton of competitive supports to localities, tribes, and others throughout the nation to support promoting equitable justice systems, creating safer communities, and empowering youth to lead productive lives and to thrive. So the guiding philosophy is to enhance the welfare of Americans' youth and broaden opportunities for a better future. And so our Administrator Ryan, who was appointed last May, she's been a tremendous leader for OJJDP and in transforming the juvenile justice system. And she has 3 pillars that she focuses on: treating children as children, serving children at home with their families in their communities, and opening up opportunities for system-involved youth. And this enhancing school capacity initiative really does get at all of these pillars on some level. So we want to make sure that that you understand that you really resonated with the readers and their peer reviewers in this particular solicitation round in order to be, a successful applicant. So again, congratulations. So Deputy Associate Administrator Jackie O'Reilly is in our Delinquency Prevention and Child Protection Division. She co-leads that division. I work under Jackie in support of this work, as well as some other work in the division around continuum of care and some other related issues. Steffi Rapp, Alex Serrano, Jenna Easton, and William Jernigan are also on our team, and some of them are on this call today. So really appreciate their support. They are this group is the respective program managers that will be liaising with you on programmatic issues. So next slide. So just real quick, the goals of the initiative is really about supporting, developing, and expanding strategies to focus on school safety by preventing and reducing school violence. And so one of the big things is, we want to improve school capacity to prevent and intervene early to incidents of violence. So there's a prevention, a connotation to this, very much so, and early intervention focus as well. But the idea of enhancing and expanding partnerships between school systems and community-based organizations is critical. And expanding these opportunities for family engagement and youth engagement to mutually address risk factors is also a critical piece. And improving that communication between home and school to enhance protective factors. And in so doing, mitigating risk factors is a critical piece of this initiative. And clearly, you all got the link of connecting the community-based organizations with the schools to address an identified need. You'll note that the solicitation was broad intentionally to allow for you to identify the needs that need to be addressed and how they could best be addressed in a way that would be sustainable and most impactful to your community. Next slide. So real quick, I'm just going to go over some real basic grant administration stuff. By now you should have accepted the award and just grants, reviewed award and conditions. There will be, right now we're going through a process of what's called a budget review. You're in probably an initial budget review stage where you're having to revise your budget to address certain items that the program office and our office of the chief financial officer have identified for you to address. So that's a process. It'll take a little bit of time, but work with us and continue to work with us to kind of get those pieces addressed. Make sure that your points of contact in Just Grants are up to date. You had to submit points of contact when you submitted your application. For some of you, those points of contact may have changed. You have to initiate that those changes. Most importantly, your grant award administrator and financial manager should be up to date because our Just Grant system sends automatic emails to those respective individuals around status of reports, issues for resolution, items that need to be addressed in order for your budget to be cleared, that sort of thing. So make sure you get that updated in the system. Next slide. So one of the things that you want to look at is your award conditions. This is important. Any conditions that you have in your award when you accepted your award, and there's 40 some of them, all of those conditions convey to any subrecipients you have. So you'll want to really take the time to fully understand and make sure that for example, the determination of suitability for safeguarding youth. There's a link here on that around that's OJP guidance on how to make sure that you are safeguarding youth, meaning that if you have a program that interacts with youth, that you are doing appropriate background checks, that you're taking you're doing your due diligence to ensure that that youth are in a safe and healthy environment. But that if you had a subrecipient that was doing some work that involved direct service with youth, then that determination of suitability conveys to them. But you're held responsible for the ultimate determination because you are the recipient. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm sure it does for most. If it doesn't, I'm happy to take some conversations offline on that. So one of the primary things is the financial training requirement for grant award administrators and financial managers. You need to go and make sure that you completed that training. If you haven't done so, there's a special condition on your award that will not allow you to draw down more than I think there's a 90% hold on your award. There actually may be an entire hold on that piece if you haven't done it. So that's one thing you'll want to look at. Make sure that you get that in. It's a module-based online training, and it will require a little bit of time for you to go through and then send the authentication certification that you have completed it, so we can remove that's withholding special condition from your award. So that's it. Basically, there's a grantee meeting requirement sometime in 2024. There will be a notification that'll come out about in-person training, and there's an expectation, as outlined in the solicitation, that you attend that training and that you utilize funds that you were to budget for in your budget under this award to support in-person attendance. And certainly if there needs to be amendments to your budget to allow for support and attendance at the training, certainly we'll certainly entertain those. But it is a requirement that we do have an in-person training. As I think we can all agree, post-COVID, and I mean, it's been great Zooming and connecting through various means, virtually, but there's just something to be said for developing a community of practice and networking in person. So we're going to bring that back. Three parts of key parts of grant management: programmatic, fiscal, and administrative. Programmatic is looking at progress goals, monitoring changes in scope and program refinements. Fiscal is budget revisions, accounting, fiscal oversight. Administrative is management, documentation, tracking of your administrative aspects to include personnel timesheets, timely and accurate grant reporting. These interface and overlap a little bit, but these are the three key parts of any sort of, if we were to do a site visit, either in person or desk review, that these three key pieces are looked at. And these three key pieces, by and large, are overseen by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. LISC, who is a very capable training technical assistance provider, is going to be who you'll be dealing with on a very regular basis, and they're going to be helping you really build out your capacity to enhance, enhance school safety with, in communities throughout the nation. So anyway, between the two of us, we support you greatly. Next slide. So again, I think I just kind of went over this piece. So, but if you do have communication, include your grant number, which is like this 1,000 digit number that begins with, I think, a 15. It's not very intuitive, but include that in your communication if you could. It's helpful as we troubleshoot any issues that you might have. Next slide. So Just Grants, love it or leave it. It is the official award file. Hopefully you all have access to it. I mean, you had to have had access at one point in order to submit the application successfully. So there are, again, three main assigned roles in the system. Authorized representative, that's the signing official. Points of contact, the grantee, the grant administrator point of contact, the financial point of contact. They should not be the same. Your grant administrator and your fiscal points of contact should be different individuals, just so you know. And also, of course, authorized representative needs to be a different person. Okay, so semi-annual performance reports, they're due within 30 days at the end of the reporting period, which are June 30th and December 31st. So that means your reports are due the end of July and the end of January, understanding that you'll have a report due for your period October through December. And many of you have no activity, you don't have a cleared budget yet, you have maybe withholding conditions. You'll still need to submit a report that shows that you have no activity. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's no way for the system to know if you're failing to report or if you have nothing to report until you report nothing. Hope that makes sense. It'll be the easiest report you've ever submitted. Here's the reporting deadlines for the financial reports. These are due quarterly. So again, similarly, October to December, due January, you'll have a fiscal. So you have a fiscal and a programmatic report due January 30th. These are important dates to adhere to, because if you're delinquent in submission, there's an automatic withholding of funds on your award. And once you get going, we want to make sure you're able to continue to move forward. Okay, so next, so if Federal Funding Accountability and Transparency Act requires that if you have any recipients, any direct recipients that are 30,000 or more, to subrecipients, like meaning that if you're subawarding more than 30,000 of your award to a particular entity, you're required to submit data in the FAFATA subaward reporting system. It's your responsibility as the direct recipient to report on behalf of that subrecipient. So anyway, there's links there. And again, this information will be available on LISC's website, the deck, and you'll be able to find these links. So no worries about taking copious notes. Next slide. Grant award modifications briefly is initiated by you if you need to extend your project period, change points of contact signing authority, personnel key, budget modification, scope change, sole source justification, that sort of thing. They're not guaranteed, but we do work with you to the extent that we can. Understanding that many of you are starting later, given the October 1 start date, you may be inclined to say, hey, do I need an extension, a no-cost extension at this point? At this point, you don't. But when you get closer to the end of your award, rest assured that if you need additional time to do your full level of effort, we will work with you to get an extension of time. Okay, next slide. So program changes are um, um, things like program scope, project scope. That's any change, even if it's not associated budget change, and even if the budget revision is under a 10% rule. And we didn't talk about that, but the 10% rule is if you have a particular item by category that is within 10% of what you budgeted and you want to make a change like up or down, um, then there's discretion that you have that doesn't require our office to do a formal budget modification. But certainly, we always suggest that it's best practice that you communicate with the office, and we can get some email documentation for you. I think is a good rule. Um, and also project end dates is something that no cost extensions that we do look at, but we look at it closer to the 3 to 6 month window prior to your award closing when we would formally process that. Um, and then we talked about sub awards a little bit. So if you're not sure about what needs to be done formally in the system, reach out to the program manager assigned to your award, and we'll get back to you with a response. Okay. Next slide. Budget modification GAMS, grant award modifications are looking at. I already talked about the 10% rule. So you know. Just kind of keep this for your reference. Also, if you flip to the next slide, there's going to be a couple of this is probably your biggest resource is the financial guide. It was updated recently, and it has all of your guidance around everything financial. There's a condition in your award that requires that you have a familiarity with this financial guide. If you had to do, if you're one of the points of contact, programmatic or fiscal, where you have to go through the grant financial management training, a lot of this stuff is contained in this guide. So it's a good resource for you to kind of become familiar even before you take the training, I would suggest. Okay, next slide. And then our Just Grants, we have training videos, a ton of resources about the system. We'll be fully transparent and say that the system is not perfect. It's far from it. And many times, program managers within DOJ don't have the ability to resolve your particular issue because there's glitches in the system that pop up and they're doing updates constantly. So bear with us. We don't see the same things you do in the screen. So there is the Just Grants help desk is always a great resource. These resources here are great, but if we can help you, we will. And we can, if you have an issue that's going unresolved for a period of time, we can work with you to elevate the issue to bring swifter resolution. Next slide. So if we monitoring, again, I talked about the program administration and fiscal elements of monitoring, and we do desk reviews. We will do potentially on-site reviews. We review your grant reports, and 10% of our overall funds that we manage as an OJJDP, we have to do either enhanced programmatic desk review or on-site reviews annually to ensure that we're capturing a good sample size of funding going out to the communities. And I want you to understand one thing, that on these visits, that these are not they're not audits by any stretch. These are opportunities to engage, to figure out ways to further support you and strengthen your supports for the program. And that in no way is there a targeting approach towards any of these types of activities. So I just want to share that. Next slide. So we sometimes grantees request visits, and there are sometimes where there are identified issues. If there were, it would be pretty transparent that there were issues, and that would be communicated with you. Sometimes there's what's called a multi-office site visit, where the Office of the Chief Financial Officer wants to get out and visit fiscally your award, and we'll get invited to programmatically tag along. If we're not tagging on with the Chief Financial Officer office, we will, as program managers, conduct a version of a fiscal review, And I'm not a CPA. My wife is, but I'm not. So, you know, it's a little bit of a challenge for me, but we get through it, and we found some great results. So I'm sure we'll continue to do so with staff that come out to visit with you or work with you and over an enhanced programmatic desk review. And then, so anyway, these is just, I think we went through the various nature of what's fiscal, administrative, and programmatic, but you should be keeping files um, of, you know, fiscal, administrative, and any sort of operational guides. You should have standard operating procedures or be developing them. If you haven't developed them yet, you should be thinking about doing that, because that's something that we will be asking for at one point in life. Next slide. And so I already shared about the financial review of OCFO. Very occasionally, there's an Office of the Inspector General audit, and that typically occurs when there's some sort of reach out, and it could be anonymous, you know, around some sort of a perceived impropriety. And we typically are not brought into that to any huge length. Sometimes we are, but oftentimes it's just to close the loop on, you know, on some perceived or stated issue, and you know, to either substantiate it or to clear it. Um, so, you know, we took, these are some of the frequently identified issues around just making sure you have appropriate standards and internal controls, written monitoring plans and procurement standards, that you don't have excess cash on hand, that you're not drawing so frequently that it raises a question like um, that you have prior approval for grant changes that are substantive, that you're tracking actual hours for your personnel, um, and that you have official master file. That could be an electronic master file, not an issue, but that it should be clearly labeled as your kind of master file. And they may be segmented. You may have a master file for programmatic with you, and your fiscal point of contact has a master for the fiscal. That's fine, but you need to be able to show those and understand what's in those as you manage this award. And also, a sub award should be clearly identified and tracked at your level as the recipient of our funds. You're the purveyor of those subrecipient funds and ultimately responsible. Next slide. And sources, again, program manager within OJJDP for points of contact on, you know, some of the fiscal, programmatic, and administrative elements of your grant. LISC is going to be a tremendous provider and is going to be much less boring than what I'm presenting to you right now. Ricardo and James will be, I guarantee you. Just Grant support, there's a great number for you to reach out there. OCFO Help Desk is another great resource. And a performance measures tool help desk is listed there as well. Next slide. And I think we'll look and see if there's any virtual questions, but I just for sake of time, I'm going to yield my time back to LISC and Ricardo to help really get into the networking and the interfacing of who you are and what you all do.
Perfect, Scott. Thank you so much. And James, before we go for, are there any questions that are pertinent that we need to address right away, or is it okay if we just keep going? Anything in the chat that's pressing?
Yeah, there was only one question in the chat I wasn't able to get to from Sarah. She asked if there is a date for that meeting, which I believe, Scott, it's the meeting for financial management training. I think that's the meeting she was referencing.
Okay, Sarah, if that's the meeting you're referencing, there's a limited on like in-person slots. I mean, they're pretty much non-existent. So you can connect through through OCFO. They have an online access for you to kind of go through that training. You'll see the links in the financial guide on how to access that. And I think James might have some additional things to share on that. Oh, is there another meeting? Yes. So Sarah, there's going to be an in-person meeting that, you know, right now we're thinking it might be in November in DC, just so you know. We're working out and ironing out the specifics on that, and we should have an answer for you in the next month or two. And we'll so we can get it on your calendar bright and early. So thanks for asking that question.
Great, thank you, Scott. And again, just I'd say in summary form, especially if folks maybe hopped on a little bit later, we just went over some of the programmatic, administrative, and fiscal responsibilities that come as a part of accepted this award. And so again, just at a super quick level recap, that includes some of the activities that are required in just grants. That includes some of the federal required trainings. And we hope that you go back again. We're certainly going to make this information available online and check out those resources, especially if this is your first time receiving a federal award. We really want to make sure that you're in a position to be successful. And again, just to really echo, I think when Scott said what Scott shared, which is when in doubt, ask. We really want to make sure that we support all of you in just a really healthy and successful implementation of your projects. Now, with that said, we are going to transition a little bit from some of the more administrative and programmatic elements to talking about our role here at LISC. And so again, LISC as the Local Initiative Support Corporation, we are going to be your training and technical assistance provider. And so that's going to mean a lot of different things to different people. And so we're going to kind of delve into that in a little bit more detail shortly. But first, on the screen, we wanted to share with you the folks that you will likely be engaging with over the course of this grant period. And so these are the different training and technical assistance leads that you will be working with. And, in summary, we're going to be here to support you. And so just, initially just want you to know that, in the coming weeks and the coming months and just in general, just be on the lookout for just engagement and outreach with many of us. We want to make sure that your projects are successful, and we'll be asking questions. We'll be trying to get to know you a little bit better, and we'll be sharing the things that we can offer to help, make your project be as successful as possible. So a little bit about us. So again, LISC and more so from our safety and justice unit, we really are here to support you through training and technical assistance efforts. And what that means at its most really basic function is, what are the things that we can do to help you successfully implement the project that you've been funded to do. And at times, those may be conversations around maybe they're policy things that you need to work through. Maybe they're community engagement issues that you need to work through. Maybe they're data issues. Maybe they're things that you're not even sure that you have the questions or the capacities to work through. But through our conversations and through engagement, we are going to do our best to support you in the implementation of your projects. Now, on your screen, you can see some 4, I'd say, core concepts that are there. I'd say as it pertains to this project in particular, one of the things that I think I'll highlight, at least orally, is that we really do try to focus on alternatives to the traditional justice system. And with this project and obviously the emphasis on schools and community and safety, we really want to do our best to uplift those efforts to provide pathways that proactively support, offer interventions, prevention, just that whole gamut of services to our youth, to our family, and to our families. And that's what we're here to do. And you'll see that we're going to try to do this in many different ways over the course of this project. Now, one of the benefits that that comes with training and technical assistance, especially if you haven't had it before, you're maybe on the fence about it. It's a network. It's a support that comes with, I would say, just a wealth of information, and it's really geared towards all the things that are going to put you in a position to be successful, whether that's personalized training and technical assistance calls, whether it's sharing best practices. We're hoping to have different kind of knowledge sharing activities that are going to be available to you as well. And what that means is working with folks who have experience in the field and connecting you to folks and to resources and to different opportunities to engage on things that are pertinent to you. What we won't do is pretend that we have things, but what we will do is utilize our strengths, and as necessary, we're going to work with other folks who are actually implementing programs that are either similar to yours or have concepts that can be drawn upon, that you'll see some linkages to. And our hope is that as we have these conversations and we build trust with each other, that we will help you in the implementation of your project over the life of the project. Now, to be clear, with training and technical assistance, the goal isn't to fix everything, or we're not coming and saying the first 2 months or 3 days or whatever the case might be. This is a long-term relationship that we're looking to build with you. We want you to be able to reach out to us, and vice versa. We're going to reach out to you, and we're going to try our best to really provide supports that are grounded in things that maybe start and maybe feel rudimentary to you, but we're hoping we'll just kind of build off of those concepts and just advance the things and the topics that are important to you. So how will we do that? And so fortunately for you, again, I think our reach is broad. So we have local offices, which you can see on the screen, and we have national teams as well. And so from the local offices, what we'll try to do is, as it makes sense, we'll try to, again, make linkages in the areas where you are, so that you have access to folks, locally, who are on the ground, who can be of support to you, who can be a connection to you. And again, that'll be a fantastic resource. And then we also have national teams. Now, for the purpose of this project, we're really focused on the safety and justice arena. But as we all know, when it comes to enriching communities and addressing these types of issues, they're not isolated. It's not just contained in a really nice, neat vacuum. And so, as appropriate, if we need to engage with some of our partners, we are absolutely in a position to do that as well. The goal is to support you truly in a wraparound, comprehensive approach. Now, again, just so that this doesn't sound overwhelming, we're going to start with really baby steps. Again, with just engagement, with questions, with just trying to understand, what's your project like? What do you want your project to look like when it's successful? Maybe what are some of the gaps that you might have, or some of the strengths that you might have, and really try to uplift you with supports that really highlight the things that work well for you. Again, there on the screen, you can see, again, in just greater detail, our local partnerships. And again, just to highlight that we really do have a pretty broad reach. Now, conversely, if you say, wow, well, I don't see a state there that works with me, that's okay too. Again, so much of what we're really going to do is to connect you through linkages. Sometimes that will be working with us directly, as well as through providing some supplemental supports as well. So let's talk a little bit about training and technical assistance. So there's lots of different ways that we're hoping to assist you. And as you can see on your screen, there's macro TA, there's micro TA, and you can kind of read through them in a little bit more at your leisure. But I think, at least for the purpose of this, some of the things that we wanted to highlight to you are, we really want to provide a customized approach to helping you get your needs met, and really to providing services that work for the youth and work for the community that you're trying to serve. At times, that might mean that we're asking you really specific questions about your community to develop a plan that, based on some of the feedback that you have, we may think of some other school-based sites that, wow, hey, this worked really well in this community or in this rural area, and we can kind of give you some information on that. Other times, let's be honest, sometimes peer networking and peer sharing can just be so wonderful. At times, it's easy to feel isolated, and just the opportunities to engage with other sites and just to hear a little bit more about what they're doing is great. Some of the things that we're going to make available to you, again, as the project goes on, are different kind of engagement opportunities through a site that's called Basecamp, where you can do some networking and can access some resources. Later on, I'm going to share some information on our resource library. But again, without feeling overwhelmed, our intent is to provide you with as many materials as we think that will be relevant and helpful, and then just to continue to tailor them based on your feedback to make it relevant. So in addition to having access to the training and technical assistance leads that I showed on the beginning slide, you're going to have access to subject matter experts as well. And so you may ask yourself, well, what makes a subject matter expert or an SME for sure? Well, that means a lot of different things, but in general, we want folks that have actually done the things that you are embarking on doing, or folks who have trained others on how to do it, folks that have, I would say, practical knowledge, and folks that could come out to you and I would say decipher maybe, complex concepts in a way that is digestible to you. And so you'll see that manifest itself throughout the project in a lot of different ways, whether it's subject matter experts on leadership, whether it's on school-based issues, on different health-based issues, intervention-based issues, community mapping issues. We're going to try to provide you a really broad network of supports that, again, is interactive, right? We don't want this to be stale. It could be, again, just recognizing that there are different learning styles for some folks. Reading information is helpful. We'll have materials like that available, but we also want to make sure that you can talk to a live person and actually receive assistance there as well. So again, resources. We really want to emphasize these points. There's a few there on the screen that you can share. Again, we're going to make this deck available, but if you have your smartphone out, you are more than welcome now to take your phone out and access some of those QR codes and that are embedded links. And that way you can just start to look at some of the things that are there. The first one I'll highlight is we have a resource library. It is very rich across a pretty large content area. Again, perhaps you're just interested in things in the safety and justice arena, but maybe you're interested in health or some other arenas, just as you think about different ways to supplement your project. And so that resource library there will be an excellent start, and then you can go broader if you need to. There's a newsletter that you can access if you want to stay updated on everything that's going on. We're going to have a resources page that we will do our best to keep updated with pertinent information, as well as a school-based violence and victimization prevention page as well. So again, recognizing this is a lot of information to hear initially, we just want the takeaways for you initially to be that we are going to offer lots of different ways to support you that are not static, but that are dynamic as well. All right. Well, first off, I'll pause to see if there are any questions. Again, recognizing that that's a lot of information, but we really want to hear from you. And so as much as we wanted to provide some contextual information, we want to make sure there's ample time for you. So are there any questions, James, that we should take a minute to address right now before we get to the sites?
I do not see any, but if anybody has any questions they want to put in the Q&A or in the chat, go right ahead and we will keep answering them.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, so you have heard a little bit about us, us in this case, again, being the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and us here at LISC as well. And we'd like to hear a little bit about you. So apologies in advance. I'm not sure if all the sites are here, but what we're going to do is just go alphabetically so you can see the order up on your screen. And we would love if there could be a representative from each site just to kind of do the basics, your name, the organization, your goals. If you want to share a little bit about, what the project does or is proposing to do as well, all of those things would absolutely be welcome. So again, I'm just going to start alphabetically and just kind of give folks time, and we can keep this up on the screen so that folks can reference it as well. So we'll ask, let's see, just unmute before you talk. But is there a representative from the Tulane Education Fund that's available? And James, I want to make sure that everyone can actually respond and that they're not muted. I don't know if we have to make folks co-hosts or whatnot. Yep, I see someone said they're not sure how to unmute. Well, we're going to work on that right now.
All right, who was the person that needed to be unmuted?
I saw a Stacy Overstreet.
Okay, 1 second. Right.
Okay, Stacy, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Fabulous. Well, good afternoon. It's nice to be here today. We are actually, our organization's name is the Coalition for Compassionate Schools, and Tulane University is sort of our kind of fiscal agent. I'm a professor at Tulane, and so it's our home for now. But the Coalition for Compassionate Schools, our mission largely is to really enhance the capacity of schools to implement trauma-informed approaches. So increase educator capacity and school leader capacity to kind of take a look at everything they do from a trauma-informed lens. My colleague and project director for this grant, Angela Lockley, is on the call, and we're really looking forward to getting going. The grant specifically is going to allow us to really build out some specific supports around universal screening for social emotional risk and in schools, and also trauma screening, and the ability to embed some clinicians in our schools so that we're able to provide services to students, evidence-based treatments for trauma. So we're also working with the school leadership to develop things like, as y'all know, I think crisis plans, crisis preparation and response plans, and as well as just suicide assessment plans and all sorts of kind of policies that will help them really make sure their schools are able to be safe and supportive for their students and their teachers.
Fantastic. Thank you. That's wonderful. And we are excited to have you on board. All right, let's see. Is there a representative from the Adult Friends for Youth? Okay, we are going to move on. And if I'm going too fast, please let me know. How about for the After School All-Stars?
Hi, this is Diane Lee. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Awesome. So I am the person who wrote the proposal, but I will not be actually implementing it. I will give that wonderful credit to the executive director of the New Jersey chapter of After School All-Stars, who is Naima Ricks, Dr. Naima Ricks. And I can give you a little bit of information about the program that we have, After School All-Stars. We're one of the largest national nonprofits for after-school programs across the country. The New Jersey chapter that is funded for this program is going to be working to reduce violence and improve safety in the Newark community surrounding multiple Title I school sites that we provide after-school programming in. And the program will be mentoring, social emotional skill development, and an arts exploration program for about 1,000 students.
Great. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And welcome aboard. Okay, let's keep moving down the list. Is there a representative from Asian Media Access? Okay, we are going to move on. Is there a representative from the city of Oakland?
Yes, this
All
is
right.
Jenny Lynchy. Hi, good morning, everyone. Jenny Lynchy. I am the Acting Deputy Chief of Grants, Programs, and Evaluation for the Department of Violence Prevention in Oakland. I'm joined, I believe, by two colleagues, Jillian Kaplan, who will be the project director for this work, and Walter Silva, who will be the financial lead. Our department funds many organizations in Oakland to deliver violence prevention and intervention services in the areas of group violence, gender-based violence, and community healing. And what this grant is going to do is enhance a program that we have operating in schools in the Oakland Unified School District that we started during the 2022-23 school year. And the program is called the School Violence Intervention and Prevention Program. It places teams of 3 individuals in high schools. One individual is a life coach who works one-on-one with individuals who are at highest risk of violence. One individual is a gender-based violence specialist who works one-on-one and makes also referrals for students to services related to gender-based violence. And the third person is a violence interrupter who actually works on mediating conflicts and also making service referrals. We're at 7 school sites in the Oakland Unified School District, all high school sites. During that first year of implementation, we had 7 total life coaches, so 1 life coach per site. but we only had 4 violence interrupters and 4 gender-based violence specialists spread across the sites. And so this grant is funding 3 additional violence interrupters, which is going to make it so that every school site has their own violence interrupter, which obviously increases their capacity to do work at the sites. In addition to doing the standard mediation and service referrals, because of their increased capacity, they're also going to start holding educational groups for students and for family members and caregivers of students who are impacted by group violence. So we're very excited to be part of this cohort. Thank you guys so much.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Glad to have you on board. Let's see, is there a representative from Communities in Schools Central Texas?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes. Hi, this is Maria Campos. Glad to be here with y'all. We're based in Austin, Texas. I serve as the Chief Program and Impact Officer here at Communities in Schools. And we're really excited for those of you on the call. We provide integrated student support throughout across 5 counties and 100 schools. And through this generous funding, we're going to be able to expand our services around mental health support and our MEL Student Achievement Program, which has a focus on young boys and men of color in a very rural area of our Central Texas region. And so through this funding, we're going to be able to hire an additional MEL leadership coach, a higher education coach, a mental health coordinator, and then we're going to bring on additional mental health interns as well. So the school and the district are really excited and can't wait to get started. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you. Do we have a representative from Community Strategies, Inc.?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Suddeth. I am the Managing Director of Student Wellness and Support Services. We are actually a virtual school that serves all students in Oklahoma. So we actually have students in all 77 of our counties statewide. So we have a wide range of contracted mental health services that we are currently utilizing for all of our student supports. And through this grant, we are going to be able to increase our school capacity to form an interconnected system framework by utilizing that multi-tiered system of support framework of connecting with our mental health partners, increasing our capacity by hiring a couple of school counselors and some coordinators who will be able to actually provide those direct student services. We are looking at partnering with our school safety team to create a behavioral threat assessment that we can start providing more mental health resources for students on that side, as well as comprehensive prevention programs. So many different things. Increasing our awareness. Again, we're looking at all of those, all the way from universal supports, what systems and infrastructure do we need to put in place across our entire state, all the way to what can we do more for those individual students that have the greatest need. So we're very excited and happy to be a part of this cohort.
Fantastic. Thank you. Sounds very comprehensive. We look forward to working with you. Let's see, is there a representative from the Community Youth Network?
Good afternoon. This is Jill Novosek with CYN Counseling Center, Community Youth Network.
I'm here too, Jill.
Illinois.
Hi, I'm Anissa Diaz-Dixon. I'm the clinical director at CYN.
Can you hear me okay?
We sure can. Thank you.
Perfect. Yep. Anissa is here with me. Carolina Brito is also a teammate that was not able to make it, but she's the program coordinator. So she's the one who's actively in schools. With our grant, we're excited to be able to provide 3 therapists in our North Chicago schools. So at the high school, middle school, and elementary school, and then 1 restorative practices facilitator. We are working on putting together a multidisciplinary team that includes the youth and the parents to be able to understand what it is that they're wanting as far as services, wanting to offer 2 workshops a year, topics of their choosing, whether we're presenting or bringing in outside presenters. And what am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something.
I don't think so.
So I think that's all of it. But yeah, so really looking to do some trauma-informed schools.
That's great. Thank you so much. We look forward to collaborating with you on that. Let's see, is there a representative from Duval County? Okay, we will come back. How about the Educational Service District?
Yeah, that's me, ESD 112.
That's right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Don Laurie, I'm the Student Threat Assessment Coordinator for ESD 112. I'm not actually going to be involved in the project, but I'm representing. The director is going to be Denise DeShong. And we've got two other staff that'll be involved, Ken Davis and Lisa Farber. ESD 112, we cover about 30 school districts here in Southwest Washington. And I've got some program goals. We've got 4 goals that we've developed. So develop a school safety strategic plan that includes behavioral health therapy and case coordination to high-risk students. Students will be referred through a partnership with Clark County Juvenile Justice and then 112's multidisciplinary student threat assessment program. Also develop partnerships with CBOs that have experience in operating early intervention and prevention programs with youth and families. The partnership's been developed with the Wellness and Treatment Center to provide the services, and planning has already started. Next, develop program strategies that target the youth population with service backpacks that are individualized to each youth and engage the family. This will be accomplished using evidence-based therapy practices, use of an advocate model to develop a child and family team that drives student success. The advocate/therapist will also provide individual and family services, case coordination, and management. And then lastly, improve communication and coordination between the school personnel and families to address risk factors for violence. This will be accomplished through active partnership between assigned therapists, families, and school staff by engaging families in school communication and activities. And that's what I've got. We're excited to be on board.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that share, and we look forward to working with all of you as well. Let's see, is there a representative from Families and Youth? Okay, we will go ahead. How about from the Gila River Indian community? Okay, let's try the Hamilton County Board of Education.
Hello, yes, we are present.
All
My
right.
name is Cassie Davis, and I'm a program manager for diversity, equity, inclusion within Hamilton County Schools. Specifically, our office is the Office of Equity and Advocacy. So what we plan on doing with this grant, there are a few components, but the bulk of this funding is going to go to our Washington Alternative Learning Center. So when a student exhibits an unacceptable behavior, a zero tolerance behavior, gets a suspension, expulsion, they go through their due process, a discipline hearing authority meeting, and oftentimes the result of that meeting is the student getting sent to Washington. So in the past, Washington has purely served as a punitive consequence for students who are, again, exhibiting those unacceptable behaviors. So purely punitive, and we are hoping to change that. We would like Washington to become more restorative, because as it stands right now, the students who are sent to Washington, their outcomes are not positive, right? They are not thriving academically afterwards. Their graduation rates are low. Their recidivism rates back to Washington are very high. So what we are doing is not working. We are hoping to change that. We're hoping to do that in a few different ways. So one is providing wraparound supports for students. That looks a few different ways, but of course, a big one is going to be training, giving students the skills, the resources, the knowledge that they need so that they can prevent those unwanted behaviors in the future. So that could be a yoga class, managing emotions. That could be a chess class, helping to strategize and think before you act. That could be a variety of different things. It's also going to be training for parents and families, right? A lot of times our families are supportive, they want to assist, but they don't know how. So similar to the students, giving them the skills, the resources that they need to help their student. And then we'll also be able to hire a person to manage all of this, which is going to be absolutely wonderful. In addition to providing those different services at Washington, we will also have a mentorship program. We're really excited about that because each student at Washington will be assigned a staff member from their school of origin. So, right, as of right now, students are at Washington, they go back to their home school, but they don't have relationships oftentimes with the staff members there. So when they feel themselves start to escalate, they don't have anyone to go to. So the idea is to change that. And then lastly, we're going to work to start expanding this work beyond Washington. So we have equity and action committees with internal partners, DEI committee with external partners, an annual equity and action symposium that works to educate folks about this need, about the challenges students face, our vision for the district, and interventions that they can implement to prevent and reduce youth violence in their various spaces. That's about it.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And I think you've hit on a lot of the themes that some of our earlier or current cohort from the 22 sites are working through as well. So we absolutely look forward to hearing and seeing how that project goes as well, and see if there's best practices that we can share even as you work through implementation and launch. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Likewise. Okay, let's see. Is there a representative from the interface community?
Hi, my name is Jenny. I didn't know whether or not Deirdre wanted to hop in here, so I think she's trying to talk to you. Deirdre, I'll let you take it over.
Deirdre, if you're trying to talk, unfortunately, we cannot hear you right now, but it looks like you're unmuted on our side.
I am happy to come in.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah,
sorry.
thank you.
My name is Jenny. I am a program manager in the Justice Services Department here at Interface Children and Family Services. We're working on a really awesome project from the state that allows us to be in partnership with our local law enforcement agency and our high schools in Oxnard, California, which is our largest populous city in Ventura County. And we get to, with this wonderful grant, enhance a lot of the things that we have already been doing, as well as expand into a feeder pattern into the middle schools to really include a lens of school capacity, enhancing school capacity, to include like parent involvement and doing some of those diversion services that we're doing on the high school campus into the middle school, as well as parenting classes, family involvement. So this is really an expansion for us, which is an enhancement that we're very excited about.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that share. And Deirdre, if you're able to get back on later, let us know. We don't want you to miss a chance to talk, but unfortunately, we could not hear you. All right, let's see. Is there a representative from the Little Rock School Board?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can,
Hi.
thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda Young with the Little Rock School District, and we are excited to implement a project located and focused at a large middle school in our city, Mablevale Middle School, with the intention to improve prevention and early intervention to reduce violence. Mablevale is located in an area of our city with disproportionately large number of violent crime activity around the school, and our share of problems with students' behavior inside the school. So we're going to implement through partnerships training for all of our faculty on trauma-informed practices. With over the 3-year period, teachers will become certified, and we're partnering with a trauma-informed program at UAMS here in our community that will provide the training and the follow-up support as we implement this certification program for faculty and administrators. And we'll invite our community partners if they wish to participate as well in that ongoing training over the 3-year period. We also are working with them to develop trauma-informed training for parents, with the hope that we can really equip them with some tools as they work to raise adolescents, which is a challenging period at best. And in a community that has numerous challenges already, we think this will make a difference. We'll also be providing students with violent prevention curriculum during the day, as well as implementing an innovative parent program called Parent Power. This is a text-based program where parents will receive via text 3 to 5 messages a week on adolescent development questions, how to work with your adolescent, typical school questions like how do you really get your teenager to tell you something other than what you do at school today? Nothing. So how to enhance those communications. And we're going to it's through text-based. We have used this program with our preschool students here in Little Rock and early elementary with great success. So we're looking forward to trying this at the adolescent level and seeing if this provides resources to parents. So we have many exciting things that we're planning to do, and we're really anxious to get started. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to say, I don't think I've heard of a text-based program before, but everything you said just from the onset sounds very intriguing. So absolutely looking forward to our team getting a chance to work with you more. And again, I'll just keep plugging, perhaps if there's some best practices that we can emulate and share with this cohort based on some of the experiences that you have, that would be absolutely wonderful. So thank you for that share. All right, let's see. Is there a representative from Napa County's Office of Education? All right, how about we move on to the Odyssey Family Counseling Center?
Hello, can you hear me?
We sure can, thank you.
Well, hello, my name is Stephanie Shapiro, and I am the Development Director with Odyssey Family Counseling Center. We are a nonprofit located in Atlanta, Georgia, around the airport area, and we provide access to behavioral health care for children, adolescents, and adults throughout the entire metro Atlanta area, but primarily in Fulton County. And Fulton County is a really interesting area in Atlanta. It's one of the largest counties in Georgia. And in the 2021-2022 school year, they reported over 31,000 disciplinary issues across its 108 schools, including, fighting, attendance problems, gangs, you name it, it was happening. And shockingly, over 200 of the incidents involved weapons, leading to nearly 60 student expulsions within the first 2 months of the school year. So our program aims to address these challenges through a holistic approach of community, family, schools, and students. And in that process, we will be establishing a school violence prevention coalition involving students, parents, teachers, community organizers, and our cases program staff. We'll provide evidence-based violence prevention training to middle school and high school students, deliver prevention and mental health awareness training to teachers, school staff, and volunteers, recruit, train, and have a cohort of students who will act as peer educators to reinforce the message of violence prevention, and ensure that all of our trained teachers and adults and our families and our communities have those necessary referrals to mental health providers, Odyssey, obviously, and other services through the collaboration.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that share.
Thank you. And thank you all for doing this. We're really excited to be a part of this cohort. It's not our first grant at this level, but it's the first grant at this level that has such great programs, and the way that you all are kind of rolling us in through these training sessions has really been remarkable. We're super excited to be a part of it.
Oh, that's fantastic. We love to hear that. That's great. And obviously we're really looking forward to seeing what great work we can do together as we, kind of just thinking back to how we started, how we can make a significant, impact in a positive way in this space. So thank you. Let's see, do we have a representative, and I'm going to apologize in advance for the SOTUS Central School District, and apologies if I've mispronounced it.
Nope, SOTUS Central School District, that's perfect. It's Jay Roskup here, and representing SOTUS is the lead education agency for Wayne County Community Schools. And we bundle a few of our small rural school districts together, along with some key partners to really try to bridge gaps and do, pretty much what folks have been saying. Trauma informed, yes. Family involvement, yes. Youth voice, yes. Access to mental health, yes. And this project really tries to narrow a gap for us and services for our English language learners. And we are bringing on a new partner, Ibero, that is both expert in youth and career development. So the youth development, obviously the holistic whole child approach that so many of these grantees have been speaking about, and also career development is one of our critical interventions lately, has been pathways to employment and helping young people develop agency and self-efficacy by really displaying the skills they have in career settings and helping them connect them to the community. So there's a little more about that. I tried to share steadywork.org and WayneCountyCommunitySchools.org, our websites, in the chat. Look forward to learning along with everybody, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Let's see, do we have a representative from the University of Arkansas? Okay, how about the University of Maryland?
Hi, good afternoon. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you. Yes, we can.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Oprah Keys. Myself and my colleague, Dr. Jimmy Jang, I think is on the call as well. We're representing the Center for Restorative Change, which is housed at the University of Maryland, Baltimore School of Social Work. We're really excited about working with you all. This proposal is focusing, as part of our programming, we're a lead agency for 13 community schools in Baltimore. But for this project specifically, we're going to be working with one of our middle schools and another one of our elementary and middle schools to provide additional services to really work on that youth violence mitigation piece, particularly around prevention and intervention. So what that will look like, one is going to be establishing or enhancing student wellness teams at both of the schools. We are using a MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support model. So we're going to be working on developing and evaluating tools to assess students to see where they fit in that triangle, so to speak, and then to enhance or develop partnerships to support students and families among the various tiers. We're also, as a center, we do a lot of training and technical assistance and coaching around restorative practices, social emotional learning, healing-centered engagement, trauma-informed educational approaches. We already train school principals and school staff. Through this grant, we will also be training our community members and parents and finding a way to maybe considering an adapted model so that we can train our youth as well. And then we just also are building in a feedback loop process so that we can get continuous feedback from our students and families and caregivers on what they think some of the leading factors are around youth violence in those two school communities, and then working together with those wellness teams and the name escapes me, but the committee that we're forming through this space to develop strategies in response to that stakeholder feedback.
That's wonderful. And I'll just let you know proactively, we can't wait to hear about the different ways you're able to engage parents. I think even in our prior cohort, that's always one of those areas where as many different wonderful ideas as we can learn and share with others. We are extremely appreciative of it. So really glad to hear you share that up front, and don't be surprised if we ask you just even historically about some of the things that you have done that have been successful in engaging parents, because it's always an area of focus for us. So thank you.
Absolutely. Happy to work with the cohort.
Perfect. All right. Is there a rep from the Youth Adult Development in Action? Okay, how about Youth Power 365?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Hi, this is Sarah Amberg. I'm Executive Director for Youth Power 365. Our project is a collaboration with the school district and another youth serving organization to create a family-centered youth violence prevention program in our community. It really is meant to create a holistic wraparound support for students and their families, kind of creating a connection between parents, schools, and student relationships. This is our first grant of this level and scale, and we are just really, really thrilled. This presentation's been fabulous, and I'm so excited to hear all the other agencies that probably have a little more skin in the game than we do. And I'm really excited to connect with them and learn from everybody on how we can help our students and families here. We all started meeting last year because we were seeing some things in our small mountain towns that we really hadn't seen before, really post-COVID impacts, and wanted to do something. And we started our own little action group, and then this came open, and it's just going to propel what we can do to really make a difference with our kids. So very, very grateful.
Well, thank you so much for that, Shara. And again, just kudos and congratulations on, receiving, an award and a grant of this size. And yeah, I think you really hit on, just the underbelly of what we're just experiencing just nationally, with just, really, concerning things kind of bubble into the surface in communities that perhaps we have not traditionally seen them in, and really, folks looking to proactively just kind of get ahead of it. So thank you so much for your willingness to be able to, tackle some of these really challenging things. And obviously we will do our best to support you. Just to be thorough, because there are a few folks that we didn't hear from, I just want to ask, just open question, is there anyone who wanted a chance to talk about their project that perhaps would be stepped away or that we might have missed before we advance on? Okay, great. Hearing that, a few things I wanted to share. So one, on the screen, again, we're going to tap into the use of your smartphones. This is not quite the wonderful text-based program that we heard about earlier, but if you can, just take a second, use your phone and take a picture, so to speak, or access the built-in QR code. We would love to get some feedback on today's presentation. So if you can just take a few minutes to do that, it'll just take a few seconds to complete. And while you're doing that, I'll do a bit of a summary. So again, today was the orientation for our FY23 sites. To kick off, we heard from the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and they kind of commenced with an overview at kind of a high level of the project. So the goals of the school capacity project, and then really kind of dovetailed into some of the administrative, programmatic, financial, and reporting requirements, of which there are many. There are a lot of different takeaways, but if there are a few things in particular I think they would want to highlight, those would include the grant resource guide is going to have the answer to so many of your questions, especially technical questions or project changes, allowable expenses, you name it. So absolutely, please make sure that you consult that. As they shared earlier, when in doubt, please do reach out to Scott or the other folks that were identified with your questions, and to make sure that you include your grant number and some of those more technical requests that you may have. And then here on the LISC side, we presented some information to just really show that we're here to support you as your training and technical assistance partners. And we're gonna be here with you through the duration, on this journey, and supporting each of your projects in different ways. For some of you, that might be working directly with a TA lead. It sounds like some of you on the call will be the persons, or there may be other people. We're going to make lots of resources available to you, be it through subject matter experts, be it through different materials, you name it. So that is what we covered today. And I'll look to see if there are any questions, or I'll ask James if there's anything in the chat that we have not yet acknowledged that we should do now. Okay, perfect. Seeing none, Scott or James, anything else that we would want to add in the time that we have?
I would just say, first of all, congratulations on your award. And I'm really thrilled to hear the excitement in your all's voices around this community of practice. One of the things that we want to build and create is an opportunity for you all to hear a lot from each other, to learn from one another. We're going to be providing links for Basecamp as well. That's going to be our online resource center where we're going to be sharing kind of tricks of the trade. So it could be data capture tools, information, articles that can be of use to you all. But if you all have what you consider kind of tricks of the trade, like if there's a data capture system that you all are using that's helping you to prioritize how you want to allocate your financial or personnel resources, and how you are prioritizing how you're utilizing this grant funding, let us know. We'd love to post that, learn more about that program. And as we move forward, you'll be hearing less from us and more from all of you. So as Ricardo has said, we're really looking forward to engaging you all, creating and building this community of practice. And it's going to be both virtual and in person. So we can't wait to go to your communities, see you in person, visit your schools, visit your students, and support your work throughout this grant period.
Great, wonderful. Thank you all so much. Again, if you can, please do complete the orientation survey. I think 2 folks flagged that they didn't see their names. We will check on that and make sure that you are accurately reflected. And then again, just to echo what James shared, I would say in January in particular, just because I know folks are going to be getting ready for the holiday break, just look forward to more communication from us. We won't be silent partners. And we ask that you engage when we reach out. Our goal is to make life easier for you. And even if some of the initial responses are, you're in a great place, that's wonderful to know too, because perhaps we can tap into some of the things that you're doing well that would make sense to share with others. So again, please look forward to our communications. Please engage. We won't be overwhelming, we promise, but we will do everything we can to support you. And with that, everyone, thank you so much for your time. We will give time back to you, and have a wonderful day.